Hey guys, RC Peck here with Fearless Wealth. And here's the thing about the stock market, the bond market, all markets. What surprised it last time will not surprise it again. So back in November of 2016, there was a surprise. Actually, most people were surprised that Trump won over Hillary. I love it. You got to go back and watch all the news feeds from whatever channel or whatever political side you're on. No one knew Trump was going to win, including the Trump family. But what I want to do is I want to look at the price charts, and I want to look at very specific price charts in November of 2016 and look at what the market was already thinking and already pricing in, because as you know, the market is so much smarter than we are. There's about 700 million people collectively voting in the markets, and those 700 million people are the richest 10% on the planet, and so their opinion counts. So what I want to do is jump over to some price charts and go back to 2016, November 2016, look at those first, and then fast forward to today, and let's look at what's similar and what's different, and then we'll have a conclusion from it. So let me go over to, here we go. So what you're looking at is a price chart of SPY, and what I want you to see is I'm going to point out a couple things to you. Can you see here? That right there is the election, right there. Now that's not all of it. The very, very bottom is the actual election day. But here's what I want you to look at. This is a price chart of the S&P 500. That blue horizontal line, anything above it is new lifetime highs. That's new lifetime highs. I want to get clear. That's new lifetime highs. And I can get even more accurate and say anything above that blue line. Let me make the blue thin horizontal line narrower so you can just see how that looks. Everything above that is new lifetime highs. Now, again, this is the election right here. So this is what I want you to really understand. And let me actually put some permanent things in place right now just so I can stop having to hold down my cursor. Look at this. So that yellow shaded area represents a resistance. And that was a price resistance that the S&P with dividends reinvested could not get above. But notice it finally did break above it in June. Now the election's in November, right? So we have 4 or 5 months. The market breaks above, backs down. The price comes back down, and the market goes, nope, we want you to go higher. So the market actually breaks to new lifetime highs a full 4 months before. Right? I want you to really understand. I'll do that arrow. Just give me a second here. Let's make it green. Let's not fill it. Let's make it thick. So right there, though, that is the previous 4 months before the election. And look at all the lines I'm putting on. And then the vertical line is the actual election, right? But it's down there. And so the market, the stock market was already at lifetime highs. And even when it was, quote unquote, surprised, right, because it fell going in, the market fell going in. And then literally that night after markets were closed in the US, the S&P was limit down and then it was limit up the next morning. So the market literally figured this out in hours that from a stock market only point of view, a Trump election was going to be good for the stock market. Okay, so that's the stock market. Let's look at a couple other assets. So let's look at BND. This is the bond market. Come on, this is specifically the U.S. bond market. Okay, so let me just put a vertical line in so you can see where the election was. Right around there. Okay, now this is the price of bonds. So the price of bonds was going higher. And notice it was going higher for the previous 2 to 3 years, okay? But then, let me get my little circle out here. But notice it stopped then. It stopped going up. It paused. And then when the election results came out, the price fall. Oh my gosh. My languaging today is pretty impressive. The price fell and then moved higher again. Okay, but notice it fell. So going into it, the bond market was just sideways. The bond market was just sideways. So remember, bond market sideways and then move down. Again, let me just quickly show you S&P 500. That's very disappointing that it changed the time frame. Let me type it in. So the S&P before it was at new lifetime highs, but it was still going sideways. If you can look there, it was at new lifetime highs and going sideways. Okay, then let's quickly show you gold. Gold looks like an absolute mess. And gold, let's see, the election is here. So we did not get any tell on gold. Gold was just too much of a mess in 14, 15, 16, 17. Gold was just confused and out to lunch. So we have stocks at new lifetime highs. We have bonds, I'm going to guess we're probably at lifetime highs then, but both stocks and bonds were going sideways. And let me just quickly look at the dollar here. What was the dollar doing in 2016? And again, election was right about there, but here's leading up to election. So price of the dollar was going higher, did go higher into it. But again, it wasn't really spiking. I mean, the dollar, if you look at this screen here, the dollar had been going sideways, right? It had just been moving between these 2 points. So it never really did much. It popped out above it, but it immediately came back into the channel. Again, we're looking at just down here. This is all of 2016. 2015, 2016, 2017. So no big tells from dollars. Okay, now let me do this. Let me go back to, it's kind of funny. Let me speed up to today. And let's show a price chart of today. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to look at stocks, bonds, gold, and cash. So here, let's just show you the resistance line for new lifetime highs. Okay, so anything above that yellow zone are new lifetime highs. So going into the 26 election, the stock market was at new lifetime highs, but going sideways. This time, the stock market is at new lifetime highs and going sideways. Now, with a little bit more volatility, but it's still sideways. The market is exactly where it was 2 months ago. I understand I can see the line going up and down too, guys, but it is still sideways. Okay, so let's get out of that. So far, stocks doing same, new lifetime highs going sideways. Then we had bonds. Look at what bonds are doing. Now, I can do the same thing, and I'm willing to bet bonds were at new lifetime highs in 2016, but anything above, let me put the same little yellow shaded area in here. Okay, anything above that, U.S. bonds are at new lifetime highs. But again, look at this, going sideways. I know it's slightly down, but it's really sideways. Bonds have been sideways for, let's just count it, 1, 2, 3, 4 months they've been going sideways. So the bond market is not spooked yet. Now, I'm actually recording this on Tuesday. Most people will see this Saturday, and the elections are on Tuesday, 3 days after that, though only 2 trading days after that. So bonds, so far, nothing. And then let's look at gold this time around in this election. So gold is anything above, let me actually put in gold because not GLD. Anything above $1,900 is a new lifetime high for gold. So gold itself, let's just put in that new lifetime high range. Just for reference, it's right there. I'll just stretch it out because this goes back to 2011, though you can't see it. So anything above the yellow line, gold is at a new lifetime high. So gold was just out. Gold wasn't even around in 2016, meaning it was just sideways, messy. Going into this election, gold is going sideways. And I look at this sideways because if you kind of go back, the last time I was at this price was 3 months ago. So it's not that long ago. Yes, gold has fallen, guys. I can clearly see that. But it's just still kind of chilling out. It dipped a little down here. It's above the $1,900 per ounce. So it's hanging out, digesting its big move. And that's a pretty big move going from the bottom of August in 2018 or starting its big move below $1,200 and moving above $2,000 and now just digesting that big move. So it'll be interesting to see what gold does after Tuesday, because in 2016, gold wasn't even paying attention. It was just kind of lost in the forest. Okay. And then lastly, let's just throw up dollars. Okay, so dollars, this is interesting. Going into the election, and I'm going to zoom out on this one because I want to show you that it's really just, and I've talked about the dollar so much, the dollar is just in a range. And actually US, let me just put in the actual dollar here. Look at the dollar here. I talked about it being in a range in 2016. It popped out of it slightly, but basically the dollar's been going sideways since, let's call it the beginning of 2015. So for 5 years. Ugly, okay? And let me do the same thing here. So this is kind of the yellow section here. Now, I'm not using this as new lifetime highs. I'm using this as just its huge, messy sidewaysness the dollar's been in for 5 years. And you can see every time the dollar tried to break out, now just tried to break out, right? It had kind of these oops, and then it had another oops down here, had another oops down there. I see this one too, guys, but generally speaking, the dollar's been in this range. And so the dollar right now is at the bottom of the range going into the selection, where before it was near the top of the range. But the key thing is it's still in the range. And to me, a dollar crash, you can't look, I try not to be cynical, but it's so it's so hard not to be cynical these days. You can't consider the dollar, you can't even say the word crash until it's below its 2018 lows. And even if it was, let's just relax here a little bit. So the dollar is acting a little different in the sense that it's at the bottom of its range and not the top of its range. But guys, these aren't big differences. So again, comparing this U.S. election to the one in 2016, you have the stock market at new lifetime highs going sideways for the last couple months. You have the U.S. bond market at new lifetime highs going sideways for the last 4 months, both the same. The dollar last time was just above its range. Okay, it popped above but quickly came in. This time the dollar is at the bottom of its range, but it's still in its range, so slightly different. Gold in 2016 was just lost in the woods. This time gold's been going up since August of 2018, so 27 months, something like that, 28 months it's been going up, and it did just break out to new lifetime highs in the last 4 months. So really, that's the only difference right now. Gold has woken up. Now, is gold and the election connected? I actually don't think so. The only thing that moves price higher for gold is a change of concern. So when people's concern of the future increases, gold has a much higher probability of going higher. But comparing 2016 and 2020 elections, stock market's doing the same thing. New lifetime highs. I know I keep saying new lifetime highs, but guys, new lifetime highs is not a sign of instability when you look at these major indexes across the planet. I just want to look at one more thing just for fun. I want to look at the Chinese stock market. Let's see what China, these are the A shares. I just want to see what the Chinese stock market. So first of all, this is a mess. This is a 6.5-year price chart I'm looking at. This is basically the Shanghai Stock Exchange. And ugly is a nice way to describe this. But look, the Chinese stock market has to stay above those blue. Oh, you know what? Sorry, guys. I should probably show you what I'm looking at. This is such an ugly price chart here. The Chinese stock market has to stay above the blue horizontal resistance and support. And it is, right? It's broken above. It couldn't stay above in 2018, which is right here. Clearly couldn't in 2015, but there was just a huge move. This is when all the newsletters on the planet were saying, every international index is going to add China and blah, blah, blah. And really everyone who had already bought China had bought it, and they just kept selling it to all the people who bought, unfortunately, those newsletters saying to buy China. And the Chinese stock market had gone and is still going sideways 5.5 years later. So interesting to see the Chinese stock market breaking above Still not the prettiest thing, but it is breaking above. So we'll see. So far, maybe the Chinese stock market likes what it's seeing. Okay, that was kind of a bonus. Guys, go ahead and subscribe or leave a comment. If you have a question, if you have a different point of view, tell me where you think I'm right. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. I love hearing what your thoughts are. And again, this is RC Peck with Fearless Wealth, and I will see you on the next video. Okay, thanks.